on top.
Hi everyone, sorry there was a technical glitch. Welcome to Life by Laila. This is an open channel where we exchange ideas and actually for me to have my friends come on board and talk about things that happens in our lives. The penal code I want to discuss today on this topic is about receiving lewd messages, not just pictures of the penis or vagina. I know it's a bit crude, but it's actually happening. So I like to introduce my guests. They are very, very brave to come on, I must say. So if this sucks, it's my fault. If it's great, it's all theirs. Okay, I gave them the script because if this sucks. So I have with me Adeline, Miss Singapore, former Miss Singapore 2001, and Sharon, the ex-editor-in-chief of Elle magazine. And I have Dr. Kumati of Lifestyle Clinic. Welcome, guys. Thank you for being here.
Thank you for having us.
Okay, my pleasure. So let me just start with Sharon. So Sharon, have you experienced any kind of, now social media is a very big thing. So you've got the Instagram, you've got the Facebook Live, and it started off with Snapchat. You can send pictures and then it disappears, right? Kids were using that. So my question is, have you experienced any kind of propositions that are not acceptable in whatever form? Can you share your experiences with us?
Well, just a couple of days ago, this guy sent me his a full body shot with his penis with a heart on. Just 2 days ago, I'm on Tinder. I'm on a few dating sites because I'm single, right? And I didn't ask for a dick pic. I asked for a face picture updated, and he just dropped his clothes and sent me a full-length selfie.
But do you think that because he sent the dick pic instead of his face that you asked for, maybe to him that's the best features, and like the face, really is really kaput?
How do I put this to you? He had a really small dick. He had a really small dick.
Okay,
and then he asked me if it was okay. There's no appropriate response to this within 3 minutes of a chat, right?
Absolutely. But okay, you said it's a small penis, right? So if it were a big penis, would it be okay?
No, because I didn't ask for it. If I wanted to see a dick pic, I will ask for it, guys. Okay, you don't have to have such initiative about showing off your goods. Sometimes a little mystery is good.
Exactly, but where do you think this comes from?
I think there are a couple of things. I think with social media and the internet freeing all your inhibitions, because you become a virtual entity rather than a real life person, right? IRL is a different ball game from being online. People tend to bring out the best and worst of themselves, I think. And with guys, I think it's just fair game for them to show off their penises as a sign of prowess, as a sign of, this is what I got. And I've asked friends about this, and my male friends tell me that it's because they just want to show off their junk because it's a primal urge.
Well, I guess if you have it, then you can flaunt it. If you don't, when even if you have it, I think it's absolutely wrong to do it.
I think it's really rude.
Of course. Yeah. So that's great. I'll come back to you because I want to talk to Adeline now. Yeah. Adeline, you need to share. I mean, being Miss Singapore, I'm sure you have experiences like this non-stop, unfortunately.
Guy showing their penises. However, they took a picture of me and zoomed in my ankle, my chest area. And I don't get that. I keep on asking them why. It's me. And they say, oh, it looks so sexy. And I don't know, why do they do that? Is it like trying to get me to talk to them? And I guess it's just turn off for me.
So it is definitely a turn off. But the ankles probably is fetishes. The breast is, I can understand, men, identify probably because their attachment to their mother. I have no idea. I'm just throwing it out here. But if we talk about chest, okay, I can understand it. But the ankle is basically fetishes, right? So how do you deal with this?
Well, to be honest with you, I'll be very direct with them and I say, I think you're a weirdo. And then they kind of reply to me, like trying to get me to talk, but I ignored them. But it didn't stop them. They keep on continue. So I just let it flood and just ignore them.
Right. That's. I think that is the sweetest way to deal with them. For me, I woke up. I mean, I'm blind as a bat now, so I woke up. I want to share my experience also, where I got a message on Instagram and a picture of a penis, and it says, "Here's my penny." And I looked at it. It's early in the morning. You look at it, and it magnifies it, right? And then I say, "Well, that looks less than a nickel." Ha ha ha! And then I go like, why would you want to do that to women? We don't want to see, like Sharon says, we do not want to see it, right? So that's the way I deal with it, where I laugh it off and make them feel smaller than they really are. But we all have our different ways. I like to be very, very brutal and blunt, but a sense of humor and move on with that. So now I would like to speak to Dr. Kumati. So, Doc, can you tell us whether you have experienced this kind of epidemic, I call it?
I see, that's the thing, Laila. I've never had that privilege.
It's not a privilege, trust us.
It's joking. It's not a privilege. I think I probably would get shocked out of wits. So I haven't had anything like that, but my patients have spoken about it. So one lady, I think a guy who's like interested in her, I mean, she's married, and finally he decided to send her a raunchy sexual video where lady is like, close to pornographic, and she got a shock of her life. So, I don't know what gets into men's head. They think that that's going to turn the lady on, but actually it works the opposite, it turns the lady off from. So that's my. I haven't had a direct experience of this sort, but if I did get one, I think I'll be disgusted, and I will definitely not have anything to do with this person.
Right.
On the other hand, Laila, is that if I was on a relationship with this person, like and we get on sexually okay and on the same wavelength. Receiving that, it's different, right? Because it's a prelude to something else. So these are two different scenarios.
Yeah, of course. What we're talking about is not people that yet you have a relationship. Even if you met a person, because one of my friend told me, he's a male friend. He says to me that, I get pictures of women's vagina, And I said, what? He says, yeah, I met them at a party, and then I get a picture that evening. I said, well, at least you get the chance to meet the person, right? I'm not saying that it's all right, but we get random pictures from people we don't know. Relationship wise, you can do whatever you like. You're in a relationship. So my question is to Sharon. Sharon, you put a sense of humor in it. You are on Tinder, and how often do you get? I mean, I'm not just talking about pictures. Yeah, I'm talking about offers, like ridiculous offers. I'll fly you here, I'll fly you there. I'll show the luxurious part, that as if you're living in a third world country, you don't know any better. So I'm not just talking about those pictures. I'm talking about propositions that are, you don't know these people. They might be a stalker or a killer or whatever. So can you share your thoughts on this?
Is it my turn?
Yes. Unless you're not Sharon.
Because hi again. There are two things to note. I think one is you can tell a scammer right away. The English is dodgy, and it follows a certain pattern and rhythm of writing and a certain kind of structure and logic. I mean, I'm an editor, I'm a writer, so I can kind of spot it quite easily. The other group of men is, as the doctor says, they're fetishists, you know. So I get all kinds of guys who have a thing for cute little Asian girls with short hair and big glasses. People zoom in on my feet, and this morning I had someone offer to come over and give me a foot massage. I mean, seriously.
Oh, you're very popular, man.
No, I think I just appeal to a very, very specific sort of fetishes. You know, and finally, I've had offers to marry some like older English guys, usually English, I'm not sure why, and be part of an open relationship so he can watch me, you know, get it on with other guys.
Wow, you know, this is
serious offers. I mean, serious. Yeah. I don't understand, you know. It's like the internet just spews out or brings out the darkest, dirtiest, filthiest sides of the male psyche. I'm not sure about women because I can't speak for our gender, you know, because I don't know that many women who do this sort of thing. I could be mixing around in the different circles, obviously, but why do men just assume all these things is what I'd like to know.
Well, I think that for women, we are not very visual. I think for women, we are emotional. So getting a picture of a penis or
for sure.
It's not, you know, it doesn't relate to us. For men, you know, because they're very visual. So women with, you know, the way they look entice more for them. But I've heard from guys that they receive pictures from women too, this kind of pictures. But I think if you were to choose between women's pictures and men's pictures, but I will emphasize it has to be classy and artsy and not just random, you know, in the shower and like open legs, right? So it has to be classy, right?
Yeah, and I have a tip for all you people out there who want to send, you know, naked pictures. We all normally look better in black and white, so just go with that, okay, people? Yeah. Make the world a happier place.
That's true. That's a great tip, but hopefully they won't be getting on that and then start sending it to everybody, you know. Okay, so now I'm going to talk to Adeline. Adeline, are you there?
Yeah, I'm here.
Okay, so I've got a question. So let's move on. Let me look at my notes because I don't remember anything. Let me see. So my other point is the reason I want to talk about this. So I have a panel of women on board. But this doesn't just happen to women. It happens also to transgenders, you know, bisexual. I mean, I might, excuse me if I don't get the term right, because, you know, I know this is a lot of term. Asexual. So I want to hear, if you guys are listening in, please type in any questions and any comments, because for this show, I do not want to feel alone. I want to understand that this doesn't just happen to me. It happens to all of us. And we need to talk about it, to make it known and have a conversation and maybe find a platform where all support each other and how we can reduce this or hopefully eliminate this bullshit that's going on the social media side. Okay, so we've got a question, Adeline. Rabia is saying, she's making a statement. She says, probably it comes from insecure men. Do you think that's true?
I guess, yes. It got to do with being insecure about themselves. But at the same time, I think, you know, men, you know, they are always like a kid. They think like a kid. They're always a kid. They are, you know, no matter how mature they are, they still can be very playful. So I think it's about playful and sometimes insecure at the same time, because it's hard to believe if, like, you know, if I have in 10 guys that I know as a friend, if any one of them is like that, it's kind of like shocking. I wouldn't understand, why would you do that? Like, I would like to dive into their brains and, you know, just wander around and to find out why.
But do you think that they hang around with their group of gender and discuss this? They go like, oh, you know, I sent a dick picture yesterday. Do you think that is not what they talk about? Or
no, I don't think so. I think they would talk about girls or like, you know, they take the Instagram, oh, look at this girl, she's hot. but I don't think they'll talk about like, you know, who they really are.
Well, Aman Bajaj, I can't pronounce his last name because it's too complicated, and he's a complicated man. So he says the best way to a man's heart is through his penis. If he has one, but if he doesn't have one, what do you think?
Actually, well, are you speaking about your wife? Maybe, you know, you can ask your wife, but not to any random girl because, you know, come on. Why would I, like, you show me your penis and then I go like, oh, come on, let's go with me. No, no way. You know, it's, I don't know, I'm very traditional. I want to get to know the man, get to know someone and have a relationship with that someone. And then, you know, I have my private moment with that someone, but not, you know, some random people and just.
Yeah. But I think that I have yet to meet a woman that says, wow, I got a dick picture. It was fantastic. It turns me on. Unless the woman is a porn star and she has to be paid for, and probably she will go like, yeah, you know, fine, you know, get it over and done with. But we are not built that way. You know, I don't think women, as women, we are built that way. Maybe this man, somebody, I'm begging men, one of you out there, please start a course like the Hitch, you know, the movie Hitch. Teach this man how to be a man and, you know, how to woo a woman. It's gone. It's out of the bloody drain because now they think that they send a picture, they're like, wow, I got a girl. But maybe, just maybe, someone out there falls for it. And that's why they think they can do this. What do you think?
I believe that, yes. I truly believe that they should do this community to change how a man thinks. Because like I just saw someone said that you need to learn how to treat the woman right. And I guess they have to kind of understand why women are very different. Women are very motherly, very a caring person, a loving person, a giver. So I guess, yes, other men should have this community to tell other guys like, hey, that's not right to just showcase, you know, your private part to a woman because, you know, it's like we all said, we all agree, it's complete turn off. You don't pull us to get to know you. If you want to get to know the person, just come out, step up, be a man. Like you show us your dick. You're so brave to show us your penis. So come on. Have the balls, have the courage to come out like, hi, would you like to go out for coffee?
Yeah, but the thing is that I hope I won't be getting any balls picture. I've yet to see I get any balls picture. I get penis picture, but no balls picture yet. But please refrain from sending me. I do not need to see it. I've got bigger balls than most men, so no need to send to me, okay? So now I would like to move to Dr. Kumati. Dr. Kumati, I want to talk about something. Do you know, because now everything is so easily accessed. I remember when I was a kid, I was 13 years old. That was many, many, many years ago. I remember waiting for a bus. You hate school. You hate your life, sitting at a bus stop, right? And then here comes this guy on a bicycle, flashing his penis on a bicycle and cycling away. And then I ran after him, right? So that shows to me, now if I look at it now, it shows bravery. He got the balls to show, and then, of course, like he's a bloody coward, right? He ran, right? But don't you think, has that ever happened to you? You are very lucky because you have not gotten any of this. But as you were growing up, have you ever experienced it? Have you seen kids being subjected to it?
Well, like you, Laila, when I was a kid, you know, waiting at a bus stop, some guy flashed it. And, you know, of course, you know, at that age, you know, it's so naive. All I was shocked out of my wits. And I mean, and I've never forgotten that scene. Probably traumatized part of my brain. So, yeah, well, it started that, I mean, I think men just, I don't know, what is it? Probably he felt good doing that. Maybe he felt like a man that he was able to show his penis to some woman. And the other thing is, I think a lot of them hope that by showing it, that you will reciprocate, you know, like maybe like them. Okay, on the social media, some of them, I think, also are hoping that you might send, say, a photo of yourself with no clothes, a different part of your anatomy. So,
yeah.
Yeah, that's what I think they're hoping. I think men do not realize that, yeah, like Adeline said, we are made differently, by sending a photograph like that, you just turn a woman off totally, I think a woman who likes for a photo of a penis from a random man, if she likes it, there's something wrong. But majority of women are not like that. So I think, like Adeline said, you need to, if you like a woman or you like the attention of a woman, you need to speak to her, take her out, use your brains, don't use your penis. I think that's what I feel.
Maybe that's their brain, their penis. It could be sad.
well, that's what they say, isn't it? That for some of them, the brain is down there. It's not in the skull.
We have another question, Dr. Kumati. Suresh says, actually, it's a mental condition, especially from the opposite sex. Do you really think that there's so many mental issues now that people label everything is mental? Where is the responsibility of taking
he might be right, because there are men who are very insecure. And, with social media, for these men, they would never approach a woman because they just, they don't have the balls, right? Maybe it's from childhood, some sort of condition that affected their self-esteem. So with social media, they hide behind the phone or the computer, and then they send these pictures, and the thing is, they're shielded, right? So I think that's why they become brazen with the way they do it. So for some of them, I think that's also those who harass. It's a form of sexual harassment too, and they get a lot of delight from the women's reaction. So those, I think, are mental cases.
You're right, because Natalie just said these people enjoy shocking people. So she's absolutely right, just like what you say. I think from my point is either as adults, we are capable, especially women. And I'm not just speaking for women. Please don't, this is not men bashing show, because like I stated before, transgenders, gay people, like lesbian, whatever it is, you have received this kind of unwanted, advances, right? So for us women, I'm talking about me, the way I deal with it is either belittling them by laughing or call them out on it. But ultimately, I want to go to Sharon. I want to ask Sharon, whose responsibility it is for to educate these people or men? Sharon?
Could you repeat a question, because there was a bit of lag?
Okay, so now what I want to ask is, whose responsibility is it to teach these men? Is it us women? Is it our job to teach them by shaming them, by calling them out? Or who is responsible? Who should take responsibility for this?
The problem is we're all adults here, right? So you would think that...
Hang on, Sharon. I can't hear you. Just a second. Okay, so Sharon, can you hear me still?
Yes.
Okay, perfect.
Very faint. So.
Okay.
Yeah, so I was saying that you would think, we're all adults here, you would think that these men would have the maturity to be able to differentiate between what is sensual / erotic and what is just plain, obnoxious. I'm afraid there's no easy answer, I think.
Right.
But I see these penis pictures and the whole, it's a form of bullying, it's a form of harassment, and it's the internet, because of the nature of the internet, is so freewheeling, and everyone sort of polices themselves, right? I mean, there's truly freedom on the internet. There's no way of stopping them. It really does come from the person who is perpetuating it and the person who is being inflicted with it. I mean, it is, every person's effort counts. I personally just either shut them down straight away, or I will tell them off and then shut them down, or just shut them down.
Right.
I don't see why I should put up with this shit, It's bullying.
Yeah, absolutely. But there are women that don't know that they have a voice. They have the right. They have a right. You're absolutely correct. But some women, I think that because of upbringing and the way they have been taught, just it's okay. The men are crazy. Just accept it. That's the way they show off their masculinity. But we need to voice out. We really definitely need to voice out. The other thing that I want to ask you is, I know you're single. You don't have any kids, right? Am I right?
Yep, correct.
Okay, so
no kids, single, but I'm surrounded by people who have children. I teach as well now.
You can have mine. I have.
I'll babysit for price.
They're too old. They're 21 and 23, but that's another subject. We'll cover that in a different time. So I want to ask you, Sharon, you hit the nail on the head. You say we all are adults, right? We know how to handle it. Some of us do. We handle it a different way. What happens if it starts? I mean, it's happening to our kids. And we were talking about, let's say, kids as young as 7 years old, they have mobile phone, internet access, right? Or you don't have, it's not your own kid, but your nephew, your nieces. What happens? How would you feel about that? And how do you deal with that?
I have friends who are parents of children from as young as 5 to 6, to obviously young adults like yours, and the ones that I've spoken to about this sort of thing, especially now that I also teach in a tertiary institution, in an art school, is how to deal with unwanted attention. And I've seen for myself over the years, also in school, right? And generally also in the workplace, and I'm just trying to paint a bigger picture here. It's not just in school, it is everywhere that this sort of harassment exists. The potential for this harassment exists. And the only way to shut it down and to ensure that your little boys and girls, because our children will always be our little boys and girls, right? Are safe, is to tell them to look out for the signs and to know when to acknowledge that it's a threat, and then to raise the red flag, either with an authority figure, or if authority figure is suspicious, find someone else, just walk away from it. There are many ways to do that, but it does start at home, or with your authority figures, your parents, or whoever you're being raised by. And I think in the workplace, as you grow up, I've been the victim. I wouldn't say a victim because I'm not. I've been subject to sexual harassment, and I've actually punched out a guy because he deserved it.
Good for you.
You just have to find ways of coping with it,
right?
And you have to recognize the signs and figure out 2 to 3 ways of dealing with various levels of harassment. It sounds like I'm painting a really dire picture, but it's not. It's just a set of survival skills. Absolutely. That could mean the difference between you walking away with your dignity and everything else intact, and you becoming a victim or worse.
Okay, I need you. You talk about look out for the signs. After this, I'm going to move on to Adeline because she has kids, and Dr. Kumati also has older kids.
Yeah.
You said look out for signs. If you could give 3 top signs for the kids, could you advise them? Just on top of the list, 3 signs.
Generally speaking, if it makes you feel uncomfortable, that's the first sign, isn't it? Whatever age you are, if you feel uncomfortable, if you feel like you're not, there's something mixed in the signals that you're being given, like someone gives you sweets but wants you to go off with them without telling your parents, then just listen to your instincts, right? The other is never try to avoid being in a situation where you're alone and exposed to a threat. That, of course, means many variables, but I think generally that is a rule that also applies to adults. And finally, know when to walk away. Because the thing about bullies is they're all cowards. And if you just walk away, chances are they won't follow through because they want an easier target. Is my personal experience.
Right, right. Absolutely. Fantastic. Those are really great tips. Now, Adeline, you have kids, and could you tell us how old they are, and have your kids ever experienced this? I hope not. But if they do, or they have, and probably they will one day, God forbid, how would you deal, or how would you advise them on that?
Okay, I have 3 kids. One is coming 12, 8, and 6. So before I tell you or answer you these questions, I just saw Lanya Sogan was saying that Suresh exploiting girls of your many fetishes. So I heard about this Suresh Sandrasagaran guy before. He came up to me before one time and asked me, could I send him a naked picture of myself?
Is this the same guy?
Yes, the same guy who I was so shocked. So he says that I can speak out. I'm sorry, Suresh. It's time for me to speak up, yo. So, girls, be careful. When a guy on social media is asking you for a naked picture and apparently saying that, oh, it's for modeling, trust me, I've been modeling for since I was 14 years old. No one or no photographer are allowed to ask you for a naked picture of yourself. So
good tip, excellent tip.
So as you were saying about your kids, how I look after them is, now social media is the big thing with kids. They are always with iPad, handphones. So I control these gadgets, and the daddy also controls it. So last year, Christmas, I got my middle child and the elders iPod Touch. So basically, we time them like, okay, you got 2 hours to play your iPod Touch, and then I'll look at the history. So of course, I think kids are a little bit curious. Sometimes I do catch something, especially with my 12-year-old son. And I do ask him, like, why do you Google for this? Why? And, trying to understand, who is his friends, why they do this. I mean, it's just a process of growing up. Kids are just curious. And however, I kind of so far, he didn't go asking girls for, oh, show me this, show me that. No, so far I've been very controlling with his social media account. I guess it's about. Sorry.
Go ahead. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
Yeah. So I guess it's about you just have to explain to him this is not right. If you show your private part to people, you're not allowed. For people to look at your private part, or if they ask you, can you send a picture of your private part? Don't do that. Yeah.
That's great, because it's leading me to something else. So I'm going to go back to Dr. Kumati. Doc, Adeline brought out exactly what I was trying to get at. So what happens? We're going to turn it around a little bit more. So now we know that we receive pictures from men or boys or whatever it is, that are unwanted pictures. What happens if we find out that it's our own children that's sending it out? I mean, by fluke, or our husbands, or our wives. What would we do? How would we feel? Is it our responsibility? Should we be blamed for it? Because every time at the end of the day, we always look at ourselves when things don't go right.
Well, so let's start with husband, right? Then women always think, oh, something's wrong with me, then that's why he's doing that. But I don't think so. I think in this case, that's probably something wrong with the man to start off with, and then he's probably an idiot, and probably I think approach him, and then if it's quite disgusting, probably should end it, because I think unless he apologizes and decides to change his ways. Now, with kids, I think it's a shocker. Then you will wonder where you went wrong. But sometimes I think, okay, you give them a chance, and then you have to then educate them that this is so wrong. And then you need to monitor and make sure that they don't do that again. Well, hopefully my kids, I don't think my kids would do that. from the point when they were young, I already was, telling them about the problems of social media, and especially like, when my daughter was dating, or when the boyfriends ask, a lot of boyfriends will ask for a picture, nude picture or partial nude picture, and I said, please, you just never know how long a relationship can last. These days relationships are pretty short, and the guy will have access. I will have that photograph, and he can use it against you anytime, even when many years down, of all these Hollywood stars whose naked pictures have surfaced just when they are big stars now, and you never know when it'll come to haunt you. So I think it's education, right, Laila?
Yeah, but it's education. But we also, as parents, we can be very, very naive. We impart a lot of knowledge and experiences to our children. But this is a generation of instant gratification. And everybody is socially inept, most of them, because they don't go out and also, practice what they preach. There's too much information that's coming in, and it's not enough time to process. So my question is, we as parents think that our children are always very, very good. But some of our children, I'm speaking for my kids also, I'm not saying your kids, I'm talking about in general, right? We do not know what they do in private. We really don't know, right? So we are really at a point where it's a big battle. What we say morally is wrong. You look at TV, MTV and all that. Everything is right. The more ass you show, the more nasty you are, you become very popular. So our children are in an era where it's very confusing. You telling me this wrong, but I can be popular. So there's a lot of confusion now.
Okay, I think, Laila, I think this is where you have to inculcate spirituality in children. I think once you give them the basic tenets of what brings happiness and contentment in a person's life, which is very basic, but a lot of us have lost touch with it because we're all caught up with a lot of things in the modern city life. So I go back to spirituality. Now, I'm not talking about being religious, but basic spirituality, knowing what is right and what is wrong. Once they know that, and I think they'll be fine. And you have to start when they're young, when they're very young and they're listening to you, and not when they're teenagers and older.
Right. Okay. So Malika just said something about, says that it's unfortunate Snapchat made a business out of inappropriate pictures and videos, because Snapchat in the beginning was the one that it was very big. So you can take a video and it disappears, for a minute, and it just disappears. Does it really disappear? Once it's out there, it's out there.
Yeah, that's true. I feel that. So yeah. So I that's why I'm very careful. I tell my kids, just be very careful, because I think everything is collected somewhere. It's always there and people can access it so yeah, it's this world of social media. I think it's bringing out a lot of other problems, issues.
Right. Yeah. So Sharon, back to you. I want to ask you, if, for example, right, this all fictional questions. What happens if you have a boyfriend or a husband, and then you found out that he's sending dick picture to another woman, or worse of all, a kid? So is it more acceptable? Are you more forgiving if he send it to a woman or a man? Or is it really, really a no-go? Are you more forgiving when in that category? Or can you also forgive if he send it to a kid? Is there any difference? Is it on the scale?
I think, well, that's a really tough call, but I think children are really a no-fly zone. Children,
animals,
should not be exploited or abused simply because they're not equipped with the skill sets to be able to deal as much as adults are. It's just a level of maturity, knowledge, life knowledge, and it's just, I think it's loathsome to prey on children. even more than adults. It's just, that is just beyond 10. I don't even know, I can't even put a number to that, you know. If it was to another person, regardless of gender, I would just want to know why. I wouldn't necessarily blame myself. I think the way I'm built is I tend to be quite rational, and I just want to know why. So these are my reactions. And if it was a child, I would also want to know why. But I would also, I think, find ways of making sure that it never ever happens again, especially to a child.
Would you, now we get to a little bit more serious. Do you think, so if it happens to your nephew or your nieces, somebody's husband did that to your nephews and nieces, right? Would you report it? Or would you just say you want to know why when it happens in your own vicinity of family, and you want to know why and understanding it and just move forward with it? So when is it, where do you take sides? When is it we should report, we teach our kids, you know, oh, that bastard, you know, we got to report him, blah, 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 because it's not part of our circle?
Well, just by sending lewd pictures of yourself to a child is already in contravention of the law. So that person has broken the law. Asking why is not going to undo the fact that the law has been broken. And I suppose I'm very cut and dry that way, but it's again a non-negotiable no-fly zone. You know, if that person has broken the law, I will report that person, especially if it concerns a child. And
right.
I know I sound quite a vigilante here. I would want to know why, but ultimately, you're an adult. You know that this is wrong. Why are you doing this? And you know the consequences. Therefore, you need to face the consequences.
Right.
Even
right.
if that person is mentally ill, due processes have to be followed in order to ensure that, in my opinion, at least in Singapore, that clarity is achieved.
Right. I totally agree. Yeah, of course it does. So now I'm gonna ask this question to Adeline.
Exactly, Michael. Yes.
Yeah, that would be blunted pedophile. Yes, bluntly, yes, pedophile. So Adeline, so God forbid, you know. So let's say it's your members of the family. I wouldn't say whoever it is, right? So you find out that your family. I think that we have a common understanding. As adults, we can deal with this. Sometimes we cry, you know, we go blah, 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 you know, cry, and then we move forward. But as children, that's where we put a stop to it. So if it's easy, like I said to Sharon, it's always easy if we say, you know, that person, that bastard, we could report it because we don't know them, you know. But what happens if somebody that we know is doing this? What is our stand on it? What would you do? I know it's a tough question because it's hypothetical.
Mm-hmm. But what? Can you repeat the question? The front part? Cannot really hear you because it's hanging.
So what would you do if you find out that one of your members of the family is sending a dick picture, whatever, asking children to send pictures? What would you do on your side?
I guess I'm a very straightforward person, or I would just report him to the police. I guess it's, you know, I'm not trying to ruin his life by doing so, but at the same time helping him to kind of like put him behind bars and not harm the other kids who are innocent. And I guess if you have that strong spirit to change the whole community, then you just got to do it, no matter how much you love that person. But I guess you have to be tough sometimes. If it's wrong, it's wrong.
Correct. So if it's a member of your family, you have no problem protecting the children first. Children comes first. Whether it's your children, it doesn't have to be your children. It could be somebody else's children. It could be your neighbor's children.
Yeah. Okay. I mean, for example, it could be, you know, my brother or my best friend. And if I find out that they are doing that, of course I would talk to them first. My first move is to talk to them and try and understand, why do you do this? And then I say, I'm sorry, I have to do what is right because I think this is the wrong path that they are going. So yeah, I mean, if they want to forgive me in the future for, putting them behind bars, then, by all means. But I'm only doing what's best for the community and what's best for them.
That's absolutely correct, and I would do the same also. So, Doc, back to you. Dr. Marty is the most luckiest of all of us because she doesn't have those kind of pictures projecting her eyes in the morning, at night, and not blinding her more. So I'm blind by all this crap. So Doc, so for me, do you think that we so if we look at it, I know some of the viewers would say, yeah, but you dress that way, you ask for it. You talk this way, you're very because I've got a filthy mouth, I curse and swear all the time, like my friend Sharon. I'm gonna rope you in here, Sharon. give you some of the limelight too. So do you believe that? Do you believe that as a woman we have a certain we have to act a certain way, and if we are a bit more obnoxious, I don't call it obnoxious, I think it's my strong personality.
Yes.
You think that it's my fault?
No, I don't think so. No, Laila, I don't think so. Everyone's got a certain personality, and everyone's free to have the personality as long as you don't harm another person, right? But if someone wishes to interpret it differently, then the problem is with that person and not with the person that is the target of that, right, Laila?
Yes, absolutely. But you hear this a lot more in Asian family households, yeah. Yes. Our parents will say, "Yala, you look at her the way she dressed. She asked for it. What? It's yeah." So yes. Do you think that it's a responsibility of home, or is it a responsibility of the community, the government, to put certain sanctions or laws that can protect us? Who is responsible? I want to know who is responsible.
I think everyone, from government to community, and I think it also starts with in the general education system. Kids, because we have different races. You look at India. I mean, you got ministers that when a woman gets raped, they actually say that, well, she deserved it. She brought it on upon her. I mean, imagine if a minister can say that. So I think it all has to start with everybody. But I think the main thing is the governing body, and it should start with education. So kids that come from different background still get the same message in school. So they know that this is the message generally, even though I may come from a very conservative background, but this is the message in general. Because there's a problem with certain families, they have bigoted ideas, and it all comes from a very orthodox view on things, and and the kids come out thinking that way, but it's so flawed. So yes. So I think it's definitely the government, the education, community. But community, so it's more the education.
Right. Okay. So now I want to go to Sharon because the doc says is education, and she compares this. She gave us a scenario about India. So we in Singapore, we are not a third world country. So you talk about education, we are really up there for education-wise. Mm-hmm. So I don't think it's just education. My personal view is not just education. I think it's upbringing and how moral values of a family. I mean, you can always instill whatever you want to instill your children. If they're going to grow up to be a piece of shit, they're going to be a piece of shit. That's the way. So what's your point on this?
I think your moral compass, I like to call it that, that lets you point north all the time, is something that technically should stick with you all your life, right? But it's really hard, I think, these days with so much coming at kids in their formative years. Modern day society is not as structured and not as cut and dried. It's not as black and white, despite me liking black and white pictures. They're not as black and white as 50 years ago. I mean, with with the internet, with the social media, there are very few boundaries these days, and also within the family, the traditional family structure, especially in cities, in first world countries, like Singapore, it's fairly common to see families that are not that are broken, quote unquote broken, divorces, separation, people don't get married, they have children as well, so all that. I'm not saying it's a bad thing, this is the reality. Your moral compass is harder to focus because there's so much going on. So really it's a question of upbringing, and if you, like you said, if you're still morally a suspect after the best of upbringings within the circumstances that you grew up in, then you're fucked basically, or you're fuck up. It's really tough, to know what's right and wrong these days. And as an educator, I see it all the time. I see kids dressed really provocatively, and I'm not old-fashioned by any means. I used to work in a fashion magazine, as well. So for me, it's actually a question of taste. And
Right.
and I sound like an old person now when I say kids these days, they dress with very little left to the imagination. But it's normal. This is new normal. I'm not judging it. This is what it is compared to 20, 30 years ago. This is what fashion is. And fashion is a reflection of our times, in so many ways. And the problem, I suppose, is just decoding all these mixed signals, because you really can't tell anymore.
Right.
For example, I very often wear baggy clothes, because I'm a fashion girl, but people think, I look dumpy, or I'm pregnant, or I'm lesbian. I mean, there are all these judgments passed on women who don't dress conventionally like women.
Right.
Same goes for men. I know really cool guys who like to wear men's skirts and they're heterosexual, but everyone thinks they're gay. So we're living in a time of great confusion, and every little effort counts. It goes back to that. And I sound like hippie when I say it, but we all need to empower ourselves, and we all need to be strong in our moral compass, however much that takes. Sweeping statement, I know.
Nobody, but
That was deep, wasn't it?
that was very, very deep. It goes like that. Now I have to decode what you just.
Sorry.
No, but no, it's fantastic. But I think that you got it. You hit the nail on the head, and you just hit me. And your words are so big. Now I have to decode. It's so smart. Very difficult. No, but it's very good. It's very, because you said that we need to be strong, and you're absolutely fucking right. What is strong? Strong is, that you can stand up for yourself. You give yourself a voice. You have enough respect for yourself. Nobody, anytime that you feel bullied, anything, because I think we talked about it before, where you are the one who said that signals, look for signals, right? For me, mostly it's, if it's done secretively, there's something wrong. Right? If you send pictures in secret, don't show your mother or whatever, that is something wrong. So follow your gut feeling. It never, ever makes you wrong. That's the way I feel about it. And yes, I think we, mostly parents, I'm not just saying women, because I don't want this, like I said, fortunately, I was about to say unfortunately, but panels are all women, but we are all very strong-minded women, and we know. But parents, it comes from parents teaching a family unit, right?
Yeah.
So Adeline, I know we've been talking for an hour and boring everybody else that's listening. Go like, this is a raging witches.
That's us.
Yeah. So. So Adeline, like, for example, I asked the doc, like, the way we dress, and I know you and I dress the way that we want to dress, and all of us dress the way we want to dress. But I'm sure there are a lot of occasions where you get suggestive, whether emails or whatever it is, like, whatever they want to do, they want to say. So do you think that because of the way you dress, you welcome more of this kind of advances than, let's say, Sharon, that says that she wears baggy stuff and all that? Adeline, can you hear me?
I cannot hear you. I cannot
Okay.
hear your voice.
So okay, sorry. I'm asking you. So since we both dress at the same, like the way we dress, right? We dress sexily.
Yeah.
So do you think that because of the way you dress, I'm going to put it on you, not going to put it on me, okay? The way you dress, you welcome more of this kind of approaches. I mean, remarks.
Well, for me, I'm that kind of person that I love what I wear. I like to look good. I like to feel good. And when I feel good and look good, I feel as a woman. So how, or it could even be girls, because I do have, girls who commented on how I dressed up as a mother. So I don't believe that being a mother, you got to, start covering up yourself. I should not show cleavage. You just have to be happy about yourself, because at the end of the day, this is your life. This is your story. Create it. So whatever people are just going to shout at you, or, you create more, unnecessary attention, then it's up to you how you're going to deal with it. But I think I deal with it like, I normally don't care. So like when I go out with my husband, like for instance, we go out to a bar and a guy normally would touch my bum. Sometimes my husband would go to be at a point where he says that, honey, when we go out, guys always just want to touch you. So I asked him, so you allow that to happen? And he says, but I don't know who's going to touch you. How am I going to stop them? So I react very quickly. I have a black belt in Taekwondo. So my husband got so shocked when I actually gave him one big punch. And then that's where all the security, kneel him down and kick him out of the club. So I guess it's all up to you. If you want to dress how you want, just do it. And, if you attract all this attention, then give them a punch.
Right. But also, we have to take responsibility also. It's very easy for us women to say that, oh, I dress this way, and then, oh, but I cannot handle you saying something. You have to own it. To me, you have to own it. If you dress this way and you love it, you better own it. Somebody says something, you better have the balls to say something back. And if they touch you, you better start defending yourself. So that's empowering. That's where you take a stand and go like, no, you're not going to do. If it starts with you. If they stop with you, then they will not likely to go and do it to somebody else. So the buck stops right. I totally agree. So sorry, I missed out the last part.
No, I said that. I mean, if they start from me, and then they will learn the lesson. They think that they can take any girl. They think that a girl who is sexy would just let guys touch them, but their mindset is wrong. So you just have to be firm at times that I love to dress how I like, so better still respect me as a woman.
Of course, I think we have to respect each other as a human being, be it a woman or man, because I've seen women also, there's scenes where women grabbing guys' ass because it looks great and whatever. So we have to respect each other's space. We are too educated for this crap where we have to be dealing with people touching without any permission. So now after this is an ongoing talk, and I can see this go on and on and on and on and on. We all have a life after this, and I'm so lucky to have you guys, so many different points of view. But be sure that I will bother you again on a different topic. Doc, thank you so much for rescuing us with our look.
You're welcome. You're welcome.
And also, we talk about another subject. Adeline, thank you so much for representing women that are sexy mothers, and we don't have to look like typical granny. Thank you for that. And Sharon, I've lost Sharon, of course. Sharon, because I think she's trying to decode and talk lower to me so I can understand. But thank you, Sharon, for your insight. I think you're fantastic, fabulous, and all the tips to help our children. So ultimately is we have to look out for each other, and we have to put a stop to all this nonsense that are happening in social media. Social media is a great platform for us to connect, positively, but not negatively. On that note, guys, watch and viewers, thank you so much for viewing all of us. We are not raging old people. We are hot people. The next topic, hopefully next week, I would like to call it, let me pronounce it right. Okay, I write it down so I don't make a mistake. It's pronounced as a bit educated lah. It says, Sankaset. Even the French would not know this because I'm so bad at the accent. So it's Sankaset. Okay, so give me a break. I can't pronounce it. So it means between the hours of 5 to 7. So you got to tune in, and then we will talk about what I mean by that. Because with this show, you thought it was just about lewd pictures. We took it to a different platform. We took it where we all have to be responsible for it. On that note, thank you very much for watching, and you can still watch this later. Bye, guys. Thank you. And we're out.
Thank you.